continuing with rotational motion and continuation only. Today we have to talk about the angular momentum, the next physical quantity with you. Previous class we discussed about torque. Torque like is your moment of force we say. Similarly, angular momentum, it is defined as the moment of linear momentum. You will write angular momentum is the moment of linear momentum. So it is playing the same role in rotational motion as the linear momentum plays in the linear motions or in translational motions. So it is, you can say angular momentum as the moment of linear momentum. So going in detail of angular momentum, of course, it is a vector quantity denoted by capital L. Angular momentum, it is given by the linear momentum, direction of the linear momentum, and the perpendicular distance, which is from the, this is, if I take y or y dash as my axis of rotation, then about this axis, if I am taking this as the direction of the linear momentum, if I draw the perpendicular distance, then angular momentum, it is given by the product of the linear momentum into this perpendicular distance ON, which if I write by small d, then I can write L as linear momentum denoted by small p, and this perpendicular distance denoted by small d, the product of these two. So you can find the dimensional formula for the angular momentum simply by writing the dimensional formula for linear momentum and the distance, which is yours, dimension for the distance is L. So you can write that, and I'm getting the dimensional formula for the angular momentum as mL2t minus dimensional momentum. And if I want to talk about the units for the angular momentum are kilogram meter square per second in SI system and gram centimeter square per second in CGS system. Of course, your angular momentum is a vector quantity. It is written as the cross product of r vector, this is your position vector, and the p vector. So the derivation will be similar to your derivation of the torque. If you take this angle as theta and the angle between the linear momentum and r, that we are taking it as phi. So this angle will also be phi. And this angle you may take it as alpha. Alpha is the angle which the direction of linear momentum makes with the x-axis. So of course you can write the r into the component form. If it is making theta angle with the x-axis, then along x-axis your r, it means small x, you can write as r cos theta, and y, if you take, that will be taken as the r sin theta. Similarly, if you want to write p into the component form, then it along the x-axis it is p cos alpha, along the y-axis it will be p sin alpha. See, this angle is this as a question that if I p into components, this is with the phi pr is taken as the radial component, which is acting along the position vector direction, and rt or r theta is taken as the transverse. So you can be asked to prove that it is only the transverse component of the linear momentum which is producing the angular momentum, and radial component has nothing to do with this. So these all are the questions which can be framed to prove. So we are going into detail into all these derivations. So previous knowledge of this is important. If I talk about the Cartesian coordinates, the diagram of this, we are taking the same, this diagram, names I have given the same, so that you can comfortably with you. This is my previous expression of torque in the Cartesian coordinates. It is we have derived this torque. It is given by x Fy minus y Fx. If I am taking the particle and moving in xy plane, then torque is acting along the z axis. So obviously this is here again taken by the right hand rule. So this is torque along z axis. So P vector acting along this direction, making an angle alpha with the x axis. So if you wish, you may write here also that Px it is equals to P cos alpha, and Py you can write it is equals to P sin alpha. And of course, R if you resolve, then X you can write as R cos theta, Y you can write as R sin. So theta is the angle which the position vector is making with the x-axis. Alpha is the angle which the linear momentum is making with the x-axis. So we have simply resolved it into the component form to get these values which I can use anytime. So when I want to derive the expression for the angular momentum, I am using my previous knowledge of torque along the z-axis. It is given by x Fy minus y Fx. And linear momentum is mass into velocity. So if I am writing Px, m is the mass of the particle on which I am applying the force, then it can be written as m into Vx. And Py you can write it as m into Vy. And using Newton's second law, you know that force it is given by rate of change of linear momentum. So I can write, if I want to write Fx in terms of linear momentum, I will be writing it as Fx it is equals to d by dt of Px. And Px here is mVx. So I will be replacing the value. M being constant, I can write this Fx equals to m d by dt of Vx. Similarly, Fy I can write simply by m dvy by dt. Moving on the similar steps, I have simply written the force in terms of the mass and velocity components. Now, if you put this value of the force Fx and Fy in this first equation of torque, sorry. So what I'm doing is I'm simply putting the values of Fx and Fy in from this second law equations. I'm putting it in equation number 1, which is there with me for the torque in Cartesian coordinates. So I'm able to write this as x Fy and Fy is m dvy by dt. So values and minus y as it is, Fx is m dvx by dt. Now this is the equation I'm getting with me. If this I can take, if wish, I can take m out. I'm getting x dvy by dt minus y dvx by dt. Derivative is a function which I cannot take other out. It's not a quantity which can be taken common like mass. So it is a function which I want to take the derivative. But still I'm doing this work as the rough task you can do, or you just put it in a box to solve this, that what happens if I take d by dt out and I keep all these terms x vy minus y vx, I write it like this, then what result I'm getting. So the derivative of u into v, u as it is derivative of v plus v as it is derivative of u. So like you have done with this derivative formula for the product of the quantities, that formula you have to apply x as it is derivative of vy by dvy by dt. This is plus vy as it is derivative of x by dt. So this you have to work. Similarly here, if you take for the second quantity negative sign as it is outside, and inside you take the derivative y as it is, dvx by dt plus vx dy by dt. Now this dx by dt is derivative of the position vector. It means it is giving me the velocity along the x-axis. So I can write it as vy vx. Similarly, here I can write, this will become here's negative sign. I'm getting x dy by dt plus vy vx minus of y dvx by dt, and then this minus of vx vy. Now this vx vy with positive and negative sign, they are going to cancel each other, these two, and I'm left with this quantity x dvy by dt minus y dvx by dt. Now if you see second equation, this equation and this third equation, so because these two terms are getting cancelled, so it means in this it is not going to affect my equation even if I take this function d by dt, write it like this. This point is to be noted, bache, because this point is important. Otherwise, you know, we can't take the derivative outside, but we have done it by checking all the things that it is not going to make any difference. When by taking d by dt outside, it's not going to make any difference, then it means I can write this equation of torque as the derivative of this function. So I can write this torque as d by dt of x vy minus y m bx, or I can write it as d by dt of x, this m vy, it can be written as linear momentum along y-axis, minus y as it is, this m bx can be written as px, which is linear momentum along x-axis. Now if I compare the linear motion and the rotational motion, then because we write f, it is equals to dp by dt. In linear motions, when we speak, sorry, then f I write as dp by rate of change of linear momentum using your second law. Similar to that, I'm getting torque, it can be written as dl by dt. So on comparing this, I'm getting the value of L, it can be written as x py minus y px. Of course, L is a vector quantity, torque is also a vector quantity. But here when I'm writing the component value of L, this is simply I'm writing the magnitude in the Cartesian coordinates. And of course, you can check this value of L will be L along z-axis. This you can further verify. By using the right hand rule, you will be checking if the body is moving in the xy plane, then angular momentum has to work along the z-axis. So this is, I'm getting this equation simply by comparing this torque, that can be written as dl by dt, then this value x py minus y px, it means it is giving me the angular momentum in the coordinates. And if I want to write in the polar coordinates, again the same diagram with you. You have to write the value of px, py, x and y, and you put those values here in this equation. If you name this equation as equation number 3, then you can simply put the values in this equation. And when you put the values, this diagram I have explained it, you can put the simply values, these values of x, that is r cos theta, into p sine alpha for py, minus y, it is r sine theta, and px is p cos alpha. So r and p are common, can be taken outside. You can write it as rp into sine alpha cos theta minus cos alpha sine theta. So this formula again for trigonometry, you can write it as sine alpha. And here in this diagram, if you see, for this triangle ONK, K, I have taken the point where I'm applying the linear momentum or where the force is being applied. Direction of the force and linear momentum is same, because by second law you have seen force is given by rate of change of linear momentum and direction of both are same. So you can write this value of alpha, it is given by theta plus phi in this triangle ONK, or you can get the value of this alpha minus theta from there. Alpha minus theta can be written as phi, or you can write L, it is equals to RP sine phi, which you can write it as R cross P. So this is one formula with you, important one, that L vector can be written as R cross P vector. So it means if you want to take the direction of the L vector, you have to use the right hand rule. You have to put your right hand on the R vector, turn the fingers along P vector. The direction in which thumb gives you moves, that direction of the thumb gives you the direction of the angular momentum as it is coming inward. If you are applying the linear momentum in this direction, then it will go away from me, then it will be outward. So, but it will be always perpendicular to this plane xy by using right hand rule. So, direction finding should be here with you, and direction is perpendicular to the plane consisting of R and right hand thumb rule. Another thing, when I'm writing it here, this formula R sine phi, if I take, then R sine phi from this diagram, again you can see diagram which you all must draw, it's very important. Same triangle I'm taking, triangle here's OKN. If you take the value of sine phi, it is given by ON divided by R, or you can say D, it is equals to R sine phi. So I can replace R sine phi simply by this ON, which is the perpendicular distance D. And the another way of saying, as I said, for radial component of linear momentum, if you pull the door towards itself, you are not going to turn it at all. So this is similar to that. So this component, radial component, has nothing to do. It is only the sine phi which is producing the angular momentum. So that also means this can be asked as a question. These are three ways it means to write the things. This is R sine phi. I can replace by the ON, which is the perpendicular distance. Another formula which we are using to find the dimensions and the unit for the angular momentum. So simply if I want to write, if magnitude of L, I can write it as mv. This formula we have used in the whenever we find the angular momentum of the satellite. So if we are willing to get the magnitude of angular momentum, I will be simply writing by mvr. And of course, this value of phi if it is 0, that means you are taking it along the radial component. Phi is 0. Then angular momentum will be 0. And if phi is 90, then L will be equals to have the maximum value, that will be equals to R into P. This is the maximum value. MVR is the maximum value of the angular momentum. And it means if for a constant velocity if a body is moving, then it is R which is going to affect the angular momentum, will be more or less depending upon the value of this R. So this is to be noted. Physical meaning of angular momentum, if you have to write, then of course you have to mention this thing, that it is only the transverse component P sine phi which is producing the angular momentum, and radial component has nothing to do with it. This you can write the transverse component as Pt or P theta, which can be termed as the angular component or transverse component. Meaning is same. So you should not get confused with the terms. Whether they write Pt into r or they write P theta into r, meaning is same. Write angular momentum in component form simply by using the cross product of vectors. If I resolve the L vector into components, I will be writing it as Lx I cap plus Ly j cap plus Lz k cap. And here R can be written as xi cap plus yj cap plus zk cap. P can be written as pxi cap, pyj cap, pz k cap. And then you write these components in the matrix form as it is shown. R first cross P. So you have to see the order. And then you write the multiples of I cap simply by ignoring this column and row of I cap, and I'm getting ypz minus zpy as the multiple of I cap. And for j cap you can write it for j cap also by ignoring this column and row of j cap with minus sign. I'm getting xpz minus j. Similarly for k cap you ignore this column and row of k cap. I'm getting xpy minus ypx. This is ypx. So you work it out by comparing both the sides. I cap, j cap and k cap multiples has to be compared on both the sides, and you will be able to write the value of Lx, which is ypz minus zpy, Ly and Lz also. And Lz you can see you are getting it equals to xpy minus ypx, which we got in the expression here also. Okay, you can compare and get the values of the angular momentum. Very important with you to find the relation between the torque and angular momentum. Torque, as we have said, it is given by r cross f. Angular momentum L is given by r cross p. So this is simply to verify. If you find dl by dt, it means a derivative of first second as it is plus derivative of second first as it is. That is the formula with me. So I will be writing it as dr by dt cross p plus first as it is r cross into dp by dt. dr by dt, rate of change of position vector or the displacement vector, is giving me the velocity v cross p. But p is what? That is m into v. So cross product of a vector with itself, because you know cross product a cross b is given by ab sine theta. So it means theta is 0. So sine 0 is 0. So cross product of a vector with itself is always 0. So that is why this first term v cross p, that will become equals to 0. And second term if you take, that is r cross f, that is the value for torque. So this is simply to verify that torque, it is given by dl by dt, similar to your force, that is derivative of linear momentum. Important with you to see the geometrical meaning of angular momentum, which can be taken as the proof for the Kepler's second law. So I can take either the particle moving in whatever plane, x, y, y, z. So if you want to take this as a y, this can be taken as the z axis. If you want to keep the body in xy plane only, as we are keeping all the time. So I want to move the body from K position to Q position. Supposingly R is the position vector for K position, which we have already taken same naming. If I am taking at Q point, the position vector I am supposing it is R plus delta R. then this displacement vector kq, if you want to write, this is your kq. This is your z-axis. kq is the displacement vector which you can find by using the triangle law, because r and delta r, they are in same direction. R plus delta r, that is equals to this value. So you will be able to find kq, it is coming out to be delta r. Kq I want to find. So you can write by using triangle law, r plus kq, it is equals to r plus delta r by using the triangle law, and there by comparing you are getting kq, it is coming out to be delta, because r will get cancelled. And this delta r, if you want to write in terms of the time, then it will be given by v into delta t, where v is the velocity with which the particle is moving. Now if I complete this parallelogram, this is dotted line only made to complete the parallelogram ORQK. So this is the parallelogram, and you know, if I want to take the area of this parallelogram, that is given by the cross product of the vectors which are forming the two sides of the parallelogram. So it is given by 1/2 r cross delta r. This side, if because this kq is delta r, then or is also delta r. So whether you follow triangle law or you follow parallelogram law, you will be getting the same result. Area of the parallelogram is given by 1/2 r into delta r. So this delta r is v delta t. I can replace the value v delta t. And if you put this value of v delta t here, your definition of linear momentum, by the definition of linear momentum, because you know p, it is equals to mv. So v can be written as p upon m. So if I put this value of v here, I'm getting 1/2 r cross p divided by m into delta t. But r cross p is L. And delta A, that is the area of the parallelogram covered in time delta t, then delta A upon delta t is giving me the aerial velocity. This is your aerial velocity. That is delta A by delta t. So which I am getting by simply rearranging the things. I am getting 1/2m, r cross p is L. So the aerial velocity yours is 1/2m into L vector. So Kepler's second law says that aerial velocity is constant. So because angular momentum is conserved, that is why the aerial velocity is constant. So this is giving me the proof for Kepler's second law. But here if I want to write the geometrical meaning of the angular momentum, then angular momentum L can be written as 2m into dA by dt. So it means twice of the mass of the particle into the aerial velocity. So angular momentum can be written in terms of the aerial velocity. That is the geometrical meaning of your angular momentum. So whatever way the question is being asked, you can always answer. Keep things up to this for today.